answering the question. How do movie studios not go bankrupt? Posted previously as shorts.
Okay, seems I hit a bit of a nerve talking about how Hollywood fails 75% of the time, with most movies failing to make their money back. So thank you for the responses. Those are fair questions, and I will answer the questions that you were asking, although there's too much info for one short, so hit next after this one for the full lowdown, okay? So part one, here we go. It's a long game. So let's say a studio releases 5 movies in a year. 3 lose 400 million between them, 1 breaks even, makes nothing, loses nothing. And the 5th, which cost 200 million to produce, makes 1.5 billion at the box office, big success, of which half goes to the cinemas and the distribution costs, so about 750 million for the studio. 200 million is spent on marketing, so 550 million. They spent 200 making it, so 350 million profit. So even though they lost 400 million on the other 4 movies, with that 350 from the last one, they only lost $50 million, right? Well, no, they still made a profit. Hit part 2 to know how. Movie studios don't lose as much as they lose. I know, right? It sounds nonsensical. Okay, in order to avoid paying tax and paying anyone who gets paid on commission, like actors, directors, writers, that kind of thing, studios cook the books to make films look as unprofitable as possible with a whole bunch of tricks they use. So they'll create like subsidiaries that supply the catering companies and production companies and costume and makeup companies, which they hire to do those jobs for the film. But because they're being hired by this shell company that's in-house, they're basically hiring themselves at a profit for themselves. And they do this as much as possible and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that $200 million that they spent on that movie, a lot of it was them just paying themselves. So how much money actually left their bank account? We don't know. And neither does the taxman or any of the people that they owe money to. And this is just the start of the secret stash that studios make from failed movies. Hit part 3 to see the whole picture. So the value of a movie isn't at the cinema, even if it makes billions. So at the shallow end, they get another payday when they sell it to streaming, then another for pay-per-view, then cable, then TV, and so on. But residuals go way beyond just these extra paydays. See, when a studio owns the streaming service, they have massive, precise data on what their millions of subscribers watch, and so they can calculate how many monthly subscriptions they'll retain from adding this new movie. And they'll decide that long before the movie's actually greenlit. So even box office failures are fine if part of the funding is expected to come from streaming. And Amazon are the absolute kings of this, as they can factor what things you will buy because you have Prime delivery into the analysis of whether this movie will play a big enough part in you keeping that Prime subscription. So if you buy enough staplers, they'll fund a movie for you. And this is the low end of it. Hit part 4 to know where the big money comes from. When is a movie not a movie? When it's an advert. George Lucas taught Hollywood a lesson when he traded profit from the original Star Wars film for merchandising rights instead, and he made an absolute fortune. Hollywood learned, and they're still learning. Even a box office flop can sell enough merchandise to make up for the shortfall. But even a moderate success at the theatre can generate enormous income, not just from merchandise, but from the whole universe that's attached to it. Books, comic series, TV series, live shows, theme park rides. It goes on and on and on. Ultimately, a movie can be nothing more than an advert. So whether it makes its money back at the theatre may not be as important as you think, which is bad news for you, worse than you think. Hit part 4 to know why. So who cares if studios are fine with movies flopping at the theatre as long as they make up the money elsewhere? Well, you should. I mean, when they release 10 films knowing that 7 are no good, which is roughly the ratio, you don't know. They only need 1 in 4 to make a profit to carry their entire slate, but when they release the good and the bad, you have a 1 in 4 chance of the one you buy a ticket for actually being any good, because you don't know. The studio can bear the cost of bad movies, can you? Have you got the time and the money to watch every release just so you don't miss the good ones? I say it's time for a change. It's time the broken studio model went extinct, for fans to be empowered, for a community-led approach where fans themselves ensure only the good stuff gets to the big screen. Will you help me to build it? Because it's coming. Check out the website, yeah?